I'll give you the full picture with no fluff where Aiden Hutchinson's game is today, how it projects over the next 3 years, what a top-of-market edge extension looks like in the current cap climate, why locking him up fits the team's broader blueprint, where the risks are, and how the roster and draft math change depending on whether you do this early or late. I'll hold the headline until the right time. You'll feel why this isn't just a nice-to-have. Its organizational shape dots start with the tape, because the tape is the truth. Through 5 games, Hutchinson has brought efficient violence to every down, stringing run plays, knifing across the face of tight ends, and finishing with the kind of body control that turns pressures into drive-ending plays. The stat line backs the eye test double-digit tackles, 5 tackles for loss, 5 sacks already, a hurry that forced a throwaway, and a stack of pressures that move quarterbacks off their spots. But the value goes beyond numbers. When your best rusher can win inside and outside, you steal coordinators' comfort. He's winning with long arm leverage, then countering with cross chops. He's running TE stunts with timing that makes guards hesitate. He's chasing from the backside like a linebacker. That multiplicity is what creates mistakes for offenses and easy plays for your linebackers and secondary dot zoom out to team identity. Detroit is 4-1 because the operation looks grown clean pockets more often for Caleb, fewer free yards on early downs for opponents, and a defense that feels more confident dictating fronts. Hutchinson is the anchor point for that attitude. You see it in the way the front fits together. Edges squeeze, interior compresses, force player meets the back at the numbers, and the throw becomes a panic check down. You rally the tackle. That's complementary football, and it starts with a player good enough to tilt protection by himself without draining your blitz menu. If you want durability of performance, look at habits. Hutchinson's motor is non-negotiable. He wins the third effort when tired linemen stop moving their feet. He's rare among young stars because he builds his rush plan across quarter speed to set the lane, power to sap the hands, inside counter when the tackle opens his hips. That's veteran sequencing in a 25-year-old body. He's also cleaned up 2 things that unlock upper-tier outcomes: pad level through contact and late-down discipline against screens. Those incremental gains are why you pay early. They compound. Now, the macro market. Edge is the most expensive job on defense, and the recent top deals prove it. The very top tier is quarterback-adjacent money. The next tier is still franchise-defining. The numbers vary by guarantees and structure, but the principle is constant. If a pass rusher can threaten on every snap in close games without you exposing your back end, that player sits at the front of the extension line. Detroit's own playbook supports early action. Amon-Ra St. Brown got done early. Penei Sewell got done early. Allen McNeil reset the internal scale for defenders. That pattern isn't random. It's a strategy. Keep your drafted stars. Control your cap curve by buying a year before the explosion. And message the locker room that performance here gets rewarded here. Let's talk structure. Because structure is where championships are protected. The smart version of a Hutchinson extension runs 4 or 5 new years. Guarantees layer as rolling triggers, roster bonuses that flip the guarantees in March, and option bonuses that spread cap hits into the middle seasons, where you forecast peak production and where Plan B flexibility matters. You want year 1 impact light enough to maintain in-season agility. Year 2 and year 3 cap numbers that you can carry alongside ascending contracts. And outs after year 4 that don't nuke your future if the NFL's economics or your roster shape shift. Translation: heavy guarantees up front, smart cash flow, and language that rewards availability and production without tempting restructures that mortgage tomorrow. There's also a culture side to this. Pay your own early, and the young room understands the assignment stack Sundays. Stack habits. Get taken care of without drama. For a franchise that's rebuilt its identity on accountability and detail, that consistency matters. Veterans know what's expected. Coaches know who the program is built around. And fans see the plan. Draft well, develop, keep, repeat. That's how you stay on a desperate March spending? But is the value there if the sack totals dip? Good question. Impact rushers affect games beyond sacks. The true metrics that travel in January are pressure consistency, run game knockback, and how much help the offense must send your way. Even on a 2-sack month, a star edge earns his money by creating third and longs, forcing slides that free teammates, and turning 2-minute drills into jailbreaks. Hutchinson's footprint shows up in down and distance. Scripts as much as in box scores opponents abandon the deep middle late because they don't trust their protection to hold for developing routes. That field position swing is real value, especially when your offense plays efficiently. Now the roster chessboard. Paying your edge doesn't mean starving other spots. It means sequencing. Detroit's core is young and aligned. Wide receiver cornerstone. Extended? Bookend tackle? Extended. Interior penetrator? Extended. Quarterback on a rookie deal? Huge leverage window. The trick is to fit Hutchinson's curve inside the Caleb window while leaving oxygen for the next wave secondary pieces, rotational rush, and offensive depth. A properly engineered edge extension actually simplifies the 2026 and 2027 drafts. You can shop for value instead of panic shopping for a premium pass rusher you'll overpay in picks. It also keeps you from chasing the free agent mirage where you pay aging sacks for. Yesterday's tape. Let's acknowledge the alternatives with adult honesty. Option A. Wait another year. Upside more data. Maybe you thread a slightly lower APY if the market is weird. Downside injury risk. A monster season that pushes him into the absolute top of the market. Or a tag war that eats your flexibility and rattles the locker room. Option B. Tag and negotiate. Upside control. Downside short-term cap pain, noise, and a relationship that feels transactional. Option C. Trade drama no thanks. Not with a 25-year-old cornerstone in a contending window. Early extension is the least noisy path with the highest stability return. On-field ripple effects. If you get this done mid-season, coaches can lean harder into front multiplicity without worrying about low management optics. You can slide Hutch inside on money downs and trust the rotation to keep the edge hot. You can sell free agents on a stable core. Come rush next to this guy for 600 snaps and eat. And you put opponents on notice before. December. Detroit knows who it is and who it's paying to be that dot cap table realities next. The second apron equivalent in NFL terms is the invisible hand of dead money and stacked restructures. Don't go there. A clean Hutchinson deal lets you avoid the restructured treadmill. You position his guarantees to coexist with the quarterback's future raise. You keep your draft capital. And you maintain room each March to attack a specific need nickel corner, swing tackle. Front seven speed without clawing your way out of yesterday's accounting. Let's put some comps in perspective. The absolute ceiling for edges right now is elite of elite money massive APY, historic guarantees. Hutchinson's portfolio says top of the room, even if you don't leap the very latest outlier. The delta between first and third APY is often less about talent and more about timing. What matters for Detroit isn't win the headline, it's win the structure. If you're within striking distance on APY, but beat the field on functional guarantees and year-over-year flexibility, you've won the deal in a way fans actually feel on Sunday's coaching lens. This staff has squeezed real gains by sharpening rules, not by asking for miracles. A star edge who owns his B gap on early downs and still threatens the corner lets you call the game from the front forward. It makes the simulated pressure world more credible. It turns your 4-man rush into a 5-man problem because protection has to cheat. And it reduces the number of perfect plays the back end must make. Good teams live on the 51% edges, the small tilts that add up. Hutchinson gives you 3 of those tilts before the ball is snapped. Injury and durability risk, every big check carries it. Mitigation is rotational discipline and sports science planning snap counts that reflect game state, not just adrenaline. Practice loads that peak for division games. Rush plans that steal breathers with interior loops and contain reps instead of 6 straight jet rushes. Hutchinson's conditioning and play style lend themselves to volume, but volume still needs management if you're playing into late January. Let's get practical about timeline. Early conversations are precisely that: frameworks, comparables, appetite checks. A clean path will be to enter the late season stretch with numbers close and structure agreed. Then trigger the paperwork in the early off-season window when the new cap is finalized. That approach maximizes clarity for the front office and minimizes noise for the locker room. It also gives you flexibility. If the year ends with a deep run and market forces move, you still have alignment to close quickly. Okay, here's the headline you've been waiting for. And I'll say it as plainly as I can. Both sides have opened the door. Exploratory discussions have taken place. The expectation inside league circles is that Detroit will push to get an extension done. And if it lands where I believe it lands, Aiden Hutchinson will become the highest paid defender in Lions history, firmly in the top bracket of NFL edge contracts, even if not at the single highest outlier number. That's the temperature right now. It reflects performance, projection, and a front office that has consistently prioritized keeping its own pillars. What changes if the deal gets done? Clarity. You know who leads your rush room through 2029. You organize the roster around a face of the franchise who plays a premium position. You send a message to the division that Detroit's window isn't accidental, it's engineered. And you give the fan base something rare in this league: continuity with a star who fits the city's temperament, blue-collar work. Big stage poise. No shortcuts. My concise analysis before I hand it to you. The smart, quiet move that sets up the loud ones is extending Aiden Hutchinson now. It locks in a game-changing edge at a fair top-tier price, keeps the cap curve healthy, and aligns with the identity this team has built: draft, develop, reward, contend. Now I want your take. If the numbers come in top bracket, but not market-shattering, are you in? Would you prefer more cash flow early or more flexibility late? How do you weigh the risk of waiting versus the stability of paying today? And which domino would you want next? Another interior disruptor, a nickel who erases, or more vertical juice on a fence? Drop your thoughts below. This community sees around corners, and I want to read how you play it. If you value clear updates without noise and deep analysis you can trust, stay with me here at Lions News Fan Report. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and share this with the diehard in your life. I'll keep bringing you the real conversations that shape Sundays in Detroit.